Hello everybody, it's Anne from Anne's Stampin' Up. Welcome to another card making day here in Simcoe, Ontario, where I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. If you live in Canada and you don't have your own demonstrator, you can shop with me. You can reach me at stampsandtea@gmail.com, or my demonstrator website is stampsandtea.stampinup.net. Today we're going to use a lovely new stamp set called Magnolia Mood, and we're also going to use an embossing folder that we've used before called Layered Florals. They're not from the same suite or the same bundle, but they really do work well together. So let's turn the camera down and we'll see what we're going to make today. So we've got this lovely bundle called Magnolia Mood, and it's stamps and dies. Beautifully detailed stamps, lovely stamps, and lovely dies to cut out the parts that you stamp. We've also got this lovely 3D embossing folder, which means it's a deeper embossing folder, and it's called Layered Florals. Now, it isn't a magnolia per se, but it does look a lot like the stamps, so they do work well together. So that's what we're going to use today. The stamping bundle, the stamps and dies, that's about $75, and the folder's about $15 in the catalogues right now. All good deals. So let's see what we need to make today's card. We've got a basic white card, which is 8.5 by 5.5, and it's scored down the middle at 4 1/4. We've got a piece of basic black, and it is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8, and then we have a piece of basic white, which is 5 1/4 by 4, and they're going to layer on the front of the card like this. We've got a scrap, which really is the rest of the sheet. This was a whole sheet of cardstock. Let me see, it goes that way, and this piece goes here. So it takes one sheet of basic white cardstock and a 1/4 sheet of black cardstock to make this card. So this is your card, 8.5 by 5.5, scored to 4 1/4. This is a piece 5 by 4 1/4, no, 5 1/4 by 4, and this is the piece that's left over. We're going to stamp the flowers that we need to cut out on this piece of cardstock. We're going to use Memento ink, a really nice sharp black ink that we have. We're going to stamp a flower inside the card as well, and a flower on the envelope just to tie everything together. From the stamp set, we're going to use the largest flower, this most beautiful magnolia flower there. I don't know if there's a right way and a wrong way. I think that's the right way it goes, but we're going to use that. We're going to stamp a little flower, smaller, on the inside and on the envelope, and we've got a sentiment from the same set which says, "Thank you for being you." And we're just going to cut that out carefully. So because this stamp here is on my biggest block, it's kind of hard to hold and stamp, dip it in the stamp pad. So I'm going to take the stamp pad and stamp the pad onto the flower itself, making sure I get all over my nice stamp there, and I've got none going around the edge. And I'm going to stamp this on what I'm calling my scrap piece of card. Doesn't matter which way you put it. It's going to go right there, and we're going to cut that out. There, that worked really well. And then we're going to stamp this little flower from the same set on the same piece of cardstock, because we're going to cut this out and use it as well. Let me see, I'm going to turn my card that way. And we're going to stamp the sentiment on the same piece of cardstock here. And we'll go this way. What else do we need to stamp? Yes, we need to stamp a small flower on the inside of the card, and I think we'll stamp a flower on the envelope, and that will just tie everything in together nicely. Let's have a look. Make sure I've got no ink on my hands. Lovely. There. So that just pulls everything together. I'll put the lid on this. Now, as always, I'm going to go over to my cut and emboss machine to cut these pieces out. The sentiment I'm just going to cut out probably freehand, maybe shape it a little bit, but I have to use the dies to cut the flowers out. And I'm also going to take this piece, the white piece, which was 5 1/4 by 4, and I'm going to emboss that with the Layered Florals embossing folder. So we'll put that in there and find the right dies to cut my flowers out. I've got this one here, and we're just going. I'm going to tape them down because I'm going to put them on the plate, on the plate that goes in the big shot with them, and carry them over, and then I'll cut them out. Oh, that's not straight. We do that again. So let me see. That looks just a little bit better, I think. You know. There and there. And what else do I need? Oh, the big die for the big flower. That's going to go there like that. Again, I'm just taping it down, and then I'll just slide this piece of card carefully onto my plate for my cut and emboss machine, and I'll take it over and hopefully be right back after I've cut them out and emboss this piece. So here we are. Get that off there. This is the beautifully embossed piece, and it gives a really deep embossing because it's a 3D embossing folder, and that just means that it is deeper than a lot of folders that we use. So I'll just set that there, and then we've got these two flowers that we've just cut out. Peel those off there gently so that the tape doesn't take away any of the ink. I'll just set that on here like this for now. And then we've got a smaller flower, oops, which popped right out, lovely. I'll just go in there. And this is just a magnetic sheet. You can buy it at any craft store. You can actually buy it on a roll at Michael's, but holds your dies wonderfully well so they don't get lost. Right, so we've got two lovely flowers that we've stamped and cut out. Now we've got a sentiment, and the sentiment doesn't have a die to cut it out. You could use a label die or anything you've got. I'm just going to cut this one out just loosely, you know, not terribly careful or anything like that. But I am going to cut it quite close to the letters, so I'm putting it in my paper cutter, closing it, and I'm looking at the channel down the middle of my cutter because that's where my blade runs, and I'm just going to pull this back a bit right to about there so I can see the ends of my letters and cut it off. And you see it's cut quite close to the edges of my letters. I'm going to turn it around, do the same with this piece of my blade. With this side, same thing. Look to so I can see the edges of my letters in the channel, and then move it back a bit. Right. Oh, that's lovely. There. Now I could leave it square like that, but I think I want to cut it on an angle. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick the side I like best, okay, or not the side I like best, but I'm going to pick one side over the other, and I'm going to put that in my cutter like that, so that I can get my all of my letters in, and the point at the top of my card. I'm going to hold this piece really firmly and just do that. So I've cut it off on an angle. Alright, now I want the angle on the other side to be the same, so I'm going to take my ruler and my pencil, and I'm going to measure. Okay, and I'm going to measure this and make it, see how I need to go to the edge of the F, because that's the letter that sticks out most. So I'm going to go to about 2 1/4 inches here. Alright, let's go 2 3/8, just so we've got enough, and I'm just going to mark it there, and then I'm going to go to the top of the label and do the same thing, 2 3/8 inches. And I'm just going to run a tiny pencil mark very lightly up from one dot to the other. Like that, and then I'm going to just take my snips, because I don't know that I can line it up very well in my cutter, and I'm just going to cut it off, and that gives me a shape that is equal. My angles are all equal. Now I can see a little pencil line there, so I'll take a white eraser and just run that down the edge and get rid of that. There. So that way I've got an equally spaced label, and the angle is the same on both sides. Let's put this down here. So we're ready to put this card together. We've got this piece for the front, the black mat, and we've got the white embossed mat, and it's going to go on the top like that. Now normally you'll hear me say, and you've got about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Well, today you've only got 1/16 of an inch all the way around, so we'll have to be extra careful. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal Plus, because it's the strongest adhesive I've got. Like that. And 1/16 of an inch, so being very careful. Looks pretty good. And I'm going to turn it over and just lightly press it. I don't want to press it too hard so that I'm pressing out the embossing, but I want to make sure it's firmly attached and it's not going to fall off. Then we've got some dimensionals, and we've got the largest flower here. Now the largest flower is going to go on the bottom, I think, like about there. And I want the edges here just to stick over a little bit, but not so far that they will hang off the side of the card itself. I just want them to be about equal with the edge of the card. So I'm going to put that down on dimensionals and just have a little look as to where I'm going to put it. Let's have a look. Maybe well, yeah, it'll be alright. Oops, one more. I'll put one on this flower. There. That should be enough to hold that. Let's get rid of these. All right. So as I say, I want that just to be hanging over the black, and just a tad off the end. There. I think that should do it. This little flower here is going to tuck in somewhere under there. I think maybe we'll hide that leaf. We'll turn it this way, maybe just like that. So what I did, you see I've got two leaves here. I'm hiding this leaf on this side. So I need a dimensional for this. Do I need one or two? Probably one's enough. Let's have a look. Where am I going? And tuck that in. Yeah, one's enough. Alright. I'm going to tuck this right under here. See where I can get it. There it goes. There, just like that. And then we've got a sentiment. In the sentiment I'm going to tuck in here like this. But again, I have to be careful. I don't want it to go over the edge of the card. Let me just trim. I can just see some little fuzzies on the end of there. Right. So we'll pop this on dimensionals. See where this will go. Oops. Don't put it down till you're sure. There. So it's tucked under the flower and you can still make out the sentiment. So then this piece here has to go on the front of the card. So again, we'll just use some Stampin' Seal Plus. And again, we've only got a 1/16 of an inch, not an 1/8 of an inch. Give it a good rub. There. And then we've got some really old, they're called black rhinestone jewels, but they've got a nice, they're a nice shape to them, and they have a bit of sparkle to them as well. So I'm just going to pick up 2 or 3 of these. There's, let me see, I think there's 3 sizes in these: large, medium and small. Let's take a big one, pop it on the corner there, and then a medium, and we'll pop that maybe in there, maybe there. 3 gems and a nice envelope that matches. And that's today's card. Quick and simple. Black and white always looks sharp to me. I like black and white cards. And then you've got a nice flower stamped on the inside. Nice thank you card, envelope to match. There it is. That's today's card. As always, if you want to copy and share, please do so. And if you sell your cards, please put the Stampin' Up Angel stamp on the back, which just says all the supplies used were Stampin' Up supplies. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next week. Bye.